All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, January 9th. We've got a 5-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, when we go through each and every one of these games, I'm going to give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays that I like in the game. But as always, all of my final plays, what I'm rolling with myself, those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. Last night, decent night. We go 4-3. One of those losses being DeMar DeRozan over 25.5 points plus assists. He finishes right at 25. He didn't start the game shooting all that well. One more bucket would have cashed for us. One more assist would have cashed it for us. But he had a great assist night anyways. We also had over 4.5 assists from him. I misplayed this one. We ended up splitting the units, 75% of it on the points plus assists, and then 25% on the assists. He crushes the assist line. The points assists comes up just shy. But nonetheless, 4-3 night from a volume perspective. I just wish we managed the DeMar DeRozan play a little bit better, but not going to complain about that. And what we also cannot complain about is Fred getting damn hot here with the ride of the day. Fred now has 3 ride of the days hit in a row. 4 unofficial because he gave us one the game before he was the ride of the day, but 3 on the books here. He had Jordan Poole over 14.5 points. He said he's been struggling, but tonight's his night. He goes for 20 plus. So shout out to Fred. If you guys want a chance to be the ride of the day in a future video, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I'm scanning these ride of the day comments, looking at who's hot, who's heating up, because when it's your time, you got to be ready. Right now, we switched up the rules a little bit. We're riding with the same person if they continue to hit. And like I said, Fred's now gotten a shout out in 3 straight videos because he has stayed hot. So we're riding him until he's cold. Pause. But go ahead and use those hashtag ride of the days in the comments, guys. I'm also shouting out the ride of the day each and every day over on Twitter, so make sure to follow me there over on X. I'm following everyone back, so even if you just want a new Twitter follower or X follower, go follow me at FGuyBoston. Let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button, hitting that subscribe button as well, turning the notification bells on. We went live yesterday, and we get comments all the time. Oh, I didn't see this live, blah, blah, blah. Hey, turn the notification bells on, right? But let's jump into game number 1 here. We're looking at the Pistons taking on the Kings. Now, this is a big number, obviously. The Pistons have been getting huge numbers as of late. They've covered 2 of their last 3, but they've lost a million games. We know that. The Kings, on the other hand, I don't know if I trust them with a number this big, especially also, being on the road. They're not a terrible road team this year. I don't want to make it sound like that, but a better home team, obviously, right? Which most teams are. I will say, from a perspective of a spread, I'm not confidently leaning Detroit. I will say I'm very cautious about looking at Sacramento having to win by that many points, just based on how they have been playing as of late, right? So they lose to Charlotte. It seems like after they lost to Charlotte, things have been a little rickety. Is that the right word? It's like they have 2 wins. They've won 2 of 3 since that Chicago loss. They've only covered 1 of those games, and they just haven't looked sharp, including that win or that big time loss against New Orleans, right? And then their only 2 wins were Orlando and Toronto, in which they had to fight for those wins there. So it's too many points for me to be comfortable with the Kings. The spread isn't really what I'm totally concerned with in this spot. If I had to give a big lean on this game in terms of what I like, I'm probably actually looking at the under here because, again, this Pistons team, as bad as the defense is, I do think that there's going to be games in which they really don't push the pace offensively. We saw it against Golden State, right? That was a total of 241. That game was 113 to 109. And where I don't see Sacramento's offense totally firing on all cylinders, they just scored 100 points last game, right? I don't necessarily see them carrying the weight in the water jug all that much. So I'm going to slightly lean towards the under. My favorite play, so I guess I'm graduating upwards in terms of confidence here because spread don't really have the biggest of leans. I could see why you'd take, Sacramento, but I'm just not really confident in that. I like the under, but then my favorite play here probably is going to be Jalen Duren here over 11.5 rebounds. So he's been hit or miss. It's coming down to minutes, foul trouble, all that good stuff, right? But this is a guy that can go for 17, 20 rebounds, almost at the drop of a hat, right? And on the season here, center's getting the 7th most rebounds against this Kings team. I just think he's a little bit more physical and more of like a go get that ball type of center than Domas Sabonis. You know what I mean? So I think that he can get 12 boards tonight. Again, this isn't my favorite game of the night, and nor should it be yours. If I'm giving you any advice here, I think that this game probably is a pass in most cases, but we did try to find some value there, and I think Jalen Duren rebound may be the one. I don't mind his double-double, but this is a Kings team that definitely prevents centers from scoring plenty, so kind of turned me off a little bit there, but I don't mind that either. But let's go ahead and move on to some, I guess, better games. All right, Orlando taking on Minnesota here. So Orlando coming off of that win against Atlanta a couple nights back. They win 117-110. They also beat Denver the game before. But as you should know, or if you don't know, I'm updating you here. No Franz Wagner here, which is probably going to be a huge hit to their offense. Obviously, they survived without him already, but against a really good defensive team in Minnesota, that could make it tough. Minnesota coming off of a loss against Dallas, which we were on the right side of in terms of leans a couple videos ago. I like Minnesota here. Do I wish this was a 3.5 point spread? Yes, that's more or less what I have it pegged at here. So I don't love the 5 number. Maybe we can buy a half point, get 4.5, make me a little bit more comfortable. But I think this is a bounce back spot for Minnesota. Do I love that they're on the road? No. Do I love that Orlando's at home? No, because Orlando's like 2 different teams as of late, on the road and at home. But again, no Franz Wagner. I think that's going to be a huge hit. No Wendell Carter Jr. either. So I just think Minnesota has the better ball club as of right now. So I'll lean towards them laying the points. Couple player props that I like. Actually, I should first say this. The total, 217.5, just seems a little bit too low for me. Neither one of these defenses, I would say, have been firing on all cylinders. This total's very low due to the fact that we have 2, above average good defenses, right? But they haven't been playing the most efficient defense here when it comes to, what they have been doing. So in their last 5, the Magic here allowing the 9th most in terms of field goal percentage, the 9th weakest team here. And then when it comes to the last 5 for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are the number 1 team on the season, they're just in the 10 spot, so top 10 when it comes to field goal percentage. Yes, that's still good, but think about that drop from number 1 in terms of opponent field goal percentage to number 10. Like, that's a fairly big drop here. They're just below league average by 0.5%. So both of these defenses just kind of sitting back a little bit. Would it surprise me if this is a game that has not many points and defenses click? No, you have 2 good defenses playing, right? But I just need to see it a little bit more consistently before we obviously go in and kind of take a 217.5 under. But 2 player props I like in this game. Starting off with Jalen Suggs over 15.5 points. I like this line a lot better at 14.5, but 15.5 will do. I think for 14.5, you could still get like minus 130 on some books. So if you want to pay that juice, fine. But he's hit this in three games this season, or in 3 straight games without Franz Wagner. He's hit it in the 2 games that Franz Wagner's been out this season, which is Denver and then Atlanta. He had 27 against Denver, a good defensive team, right? And as good defensively as Minnesota is, if there's one defensive weakness, and it's not the biggest of weaknesses, but if there's one defense here, it is going to be at the point guard position. So they're just like in middle of the pack when it comes to point guard scoring. They're about top 10 or top half of the league in terms of preventing all other positions from scoring. So Jalen Suggs, I think he's going to have the volume. I think he's going to have the minutes there as well. And then the next one's going to be Anthony Edwards, over 1.5 steals plus blocks. He's hit this in 6 straight games. He's averaging a crazy amount. He's had 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, and 4 in his last 6 here. I don't expect him to get blocks, but it's always okay to throw that in there. He's also had a block in 7 of his last 10, right? So it's like, okay, I don't expect him to get that many blocks against a Magic team that usually is big. Obviously, with the injuries, they're a little bit smaller now. But yeah, give me the over 1.5 steals plus blocks. He's obviously going to get the run, the minutes, and he's going to be involved. So I like those 2 player props there as well. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment for all of the final plays. All right, guys, we take a quick break for a second so I can talk to you about Daily Grind Fantasy. Check out the link in the pinned comment. Use code GUYBOSTON. You'll get 25% off. We can go ahead and just jump into Daily Grind here, and you can see how cool this tool is. What it does, if I walk you through it for a second, what it does is goes through and looks at all of the sports books lines that are being offered for Prize Picks lines or Underdog, Parlay Pay, Play Better, Thrive, Vivid, Sleeper, Jock Market, all of those DFS apps that we know and love, right? But what it does is it compares sportsbooks lines to Prize Picks lines and lets you know what sportsbooks are offering, so we know the value that we are getting. For example, this play right here, Killian Hayes over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. Well, sportsbooks either have it at 9.5 or 8.5 super juiced, minus 140 on Fliff, minus 140 on DraftKings. So it's a great play on Prize Picks because Prize Picks does not consider odds and take them into consideration, right? So why would you put these plus money plays into Prize Picks? I don't know, because you're stupid, because this optimizer hasn't helped us out yet, right? I used to do it too, and now now I know a lot better. So why wouldn't you put juiced picks into your prize pick spot? Like this, Emmanuel quickly rebounds over 3.5. Sportsbooks across the board juicing the hell out of this. Minus 146, minus 135, minus 140, minus 139, minus 137, minus 135, minus 135, right? Why wouldn't we put this in a prize pick slip? Because Sportsbooks thinks that that is going to be the most likely outcome. The Sportsbooks have been profitable for a long time for a reason, right? Let's use their numbers against them, guys. Go ahead and check out the optimizer. Again, you get 25% off using the link in the pinned comment and using code GUYBOSTON. You got to use the code GUYBOSTON. This tool is awesome. I pop it up on stream all the time when we're building prize pick slips. If you're on prize picks or underdog or any of those DFS pick'em apps, right, you got to be using a tool like this, and I highly recommend the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. But let's go ahead and just get back to the slate now, guys. Again, that link in the pinned comment. Use code GUYBOSTON. All right, Knicks taking on the Blazers. Knicks big favorites in this game, and I like it. I like them. I like the way they match up against this team. I could see them winning by a bunch in this game. We also have still a bunch of injuries here. You know, Brown, Tybo, Walker, Ayton, obviously Robert Williams out for season for Portland. So they still kind of have that revolving door of players. Whereas New York, same injury as it's been. Mitch Robinson out for season here. And New York's playing good basketball. Like, they really are. Whether it's home or away, you know, they're playing well. They've covered 4 straight games. They've won 4 straight games. They've been favorites in 3 or 2 of those 4, covered that. They've won as underdogs in 2 of those 4 as well. Like, give them a little bit of credit, and they're playing Portland, who isn't a very good team, right? Well, they just played Washington. They were 9-point favorites. They beat Washington 121 to 105. So they're capable of beating these sort of, you know, bottom barrel teams, and I expect them to do that again. I think that this offense has looked pretty damn good, like since the trade, really. Last 2 games, 128, 121. Like, Brunson's dishing the ball a little bit more. You know, OJ Anunoby more of a catch and shoot guy than RJ Barrett. Like, this is a team that I didn't think affected either team. Or this is a trade that I guess I didn't think affected the Raptors that much. It didn't affect the Knicks that much, but I do think that, you know, it might have been like a really like low-key, mutually beneficial trade. So give me the Knicks here minus the points. I've seen some books bump it to 12, so 11.5 if you do like the Knicks. I don't know if I personally touch it with the final plays, but in terms of a lean, I do think that that's a fair number, I guess. Total sitting at 227. If the Knicks win this game, I just talked about their offense. I get it, but I do think that, you know, they still have a pretty damn good defense too. You know, 106, 100, 92, and then 105 their last 4 games, and that's, you know, post-trade in terms of defense as well. So Anunoby being in there obviously is a big factor as well. I think that they really prevent Portland from doing anything consistently, and Portland just scored 134 last game against Brooklyn. Like, do they do that again? I don't think so. Last time they scored 130 plus, actually the last 2 times they scored 130 plus, right? So they scored 130 against Sacramento on December 26th. Next game they scored 105. Then they scored against San Antonio on December 29th. They scored 134. Next game they scored 88. So they haven't been able to string 2 high scoring games together. I like the under in this spot. Give me that Knicks defense to do what it's been doing. I know I talked about their offense, but we don't need to go like crazy with the offense, do we, guys? In terms of player props, nothing jumped off the page to me whatsoever in this game, just being completely honest. So I don't expect to touch much in this game from a player prop perspective. Next up, we got Dallas taking on the Mavs. Oh, are they playing themselves, Ev? We're so dumb. We got Dallas taking on Memphis here. Dallas, 8.5-point favorites. Now, Luka is on the injury report, so we're going to want to keep an eye on that. He's listed as a game-time decision, but listed as probable, so there's that. Ja Morant, unfortunate news about him there with the shoulder, which is just tough to see. And Jaren Jackson Jr. also questionable, so kind of explains why that spread is where it is, right? So 8.5 points. Tough, you know, that, you know, if you like Dallas, which I do like Dallas, it is tough to see that big of a number, but I think it makes sense as to why Ja comes back. Now he's gone, and, you know, even Jaren Jackson Jr. may be missing this game, so it's like, well, what is it, the Desmond Bane show? Because that ain't the team that I want to bet on. So give me Dallas here, minus 8.5. I will say it's kind of scaring me that we're liking a lot of favorites on the board today, but it is what it is. Putting each game in a vacuum. I'm not thinking like, all right, Ev, it's time to lean towards an underdog. That's a terrible mindset. But yeah, give me Luka and Dallas. Now, if Luka doesn't play, I have a player prop that I love. In fact, I like this player prop even without Luka playing, but it's going to be Kyrie Irving over 4.5 assists. If we jump over to Outlier, let's go ahead and do that, guys. By the way, if you want to check out Outlier, you can use the link in the pinned comment. You get 7 days free. This tool is goated. goated when it comes to player prop research. And I always get asked, what's that visual you're showing? Outlier, guys. Link in the pinned comment. 7 days free. But look at this. This is Kyrie Irving's assist line without Luka playing. This season, he's done it in both games. Obviously, if we flash back, last 10 without Luka, then it looks even better. One game he died on the hook there, and he would assumingly get that point guard position, in which Memphis has been allowing plenty of assists to point guards on the season. In their last 7 here, assists for Memphis as well. Second most assists here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind Kyrie's assists to begin with, even without Luka, because even still, like, it's okay. Well, he's hit it in, 5 of his last 8 games. I really don't mind that. Landing on 4 plenty. In his last 7, he's averaging 8.5 potential assists, so I really don't mind Kyrie's assist line. But if Luka's out, or if they don't think they're going to need Luka all that much, maybe he plays limited minutes and Kyrie gets a little bit more run at that one guard position, because I do think that could be a good spot looking at his assists. Remember, Kyrie Irving's assist line was 5.5 earlier in the year. He comes back from injury, and now it's like, okay, well, he's scoring well and all that, but his assist line drops a point, or drops an assist, right? So good to note there. I'll take the over. And again, Luka's injury is swelling in his right ankle. Like, what if that flares up again? Now Kyrie Irving healthy, playing more. Maybe Luka plays, but Kyrie gets more of the ball, more of the usage. So I just like Kyrie's assist today overall there. In terms of the total, 234, I really don't love Memphis's chance to stay in this game from a points perspective. I'm not necessarily saying and relating this to the 8.5 points. I admit 8.5 points is plenty. Dallas is playing good basketball, but that number could keep me off of Dallas. But I don't think that it's going to keep me away from the under here. Now, is it stupid to take a Dallas under? Potentially. They're 21-16 to the over this year, right? They've hit, I think, 3 out of their last 4 games as unders, though. And it's mainly because they're putting up points, but the teams they're playing have really not been. They scored 126 against Portland. Portland only scored 97. They scored 139 against Portland. Portland only scored 103. They scored 115 against a good Minnesota defense. Minnesota only scored 108. So I like the under here. I think that their pace of play is still obviously going to be fast at home, but is Memphis going to have the offensive efficiency and shooting percentages to be able to put up half of this? We're almost asking for 115 from them, right? So I don't think so. Give me the under. All right, Lakers taking on Toronto here. I guess we're leaning towards an underdog finally here. We got Toronto. I like them plus the points. Do I wish this was at 5? Yes. So we may wait it out here. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be on the Lakers, just assuming that, actually, yeah, even using outlier. Check this out, guys. So look at this, shows the bet percentage as well as the money percentage. 59% of the bets, so majority of the bets are on Lakers minus the points, right? But 60% of the money, so the sharp money, on the underdog here in Toronto. So I love seeing that discrepancy. But this is what I was going to tell you guys. Look at this number, 4.5, right? Last 10 for the Lakers, they would have only covered that in 2 games, whereas Toronto would have covered plus 4.5 in literally 6 of their last 7. So I really do like the spot for the Raptors. Like I said, I think that this trade with the OG Anunoby, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, I think that helped both teams. And this Lakers team isn't really like a totally able to be bet on team right now. They are at home. I do think that this is a Raptors team that has struggled the hell out of the building, on the road. I get that, but maybe they're a little bit different since the trade. They've won 2 of 3 on this road trip, and they've covered in 2 of 3 on this road trip here. The problem is they do have a look-ahead spot to playing the Clippers tomorrow, and they also have a couple more road games after this. So it's like they're right in the thick of a road trip, and this is a team that I don't care about the trade. They have struggled on the road, but if this line gets to 5, or maybe we buy a half point, maybe a full point, 5.5, I do like Toronto to at least grind this game out and keep it somewhat close. So I like that spot. Now, in terms of a total, I think this is an under spot, right? Like, if Toronto, I think, keeps this game close, I think this one's an under. And even the Lakers, their offense has kind of been like, what's going on there? The last 5 games for them, 106, 109, 96, 113, 106. So it's like, whoa. And their defense has been playing fairly solid, so it's like, I don't know why this total is all the way up to 235, but maybe the books know what they're doing, because that's a total that is the highest total that we've seen in the last 6 games for a Lakers game. And same thing for Toronto, even though they just played Golden State and Sacramento. Excluding those games, they weren't getting lines really close to this. So 235, high number. Guess we should talk injuries, right? Jakob Poeltl's out, so all of a sudden Anthony Davis looks like he could have a decent rebounding night. I really don't mind that whatsoever. As Chris Boucher's at the 5, like, Anthony Davis should body that dude. So I don't mind a couple player props in this spot here. LeBron and Anthony Davis are also on the injury report, but like, when are they not on the injury report, right? But a couple player props that I want to talk about. Favorite one probably being RJ Barrett over 4.5 rebounds. Since joining the team, he's had over 9 rebound chances in each game. He's had 9 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 4, so he lost on the hook, and then 6 rebounds, and he's grabbing 70% of those rebound chances. So definitely a newfound sort of rebounding-esque part of his game as of late. And then also Cam Reddish over 6.5 points. He's getting the start, obviously doesn't always play the most minutes, super inconsistent when it comes from the minutes perspective from him, but this is a Toronto team that does not cover that position well whatsoever. So I like their spot in this one. And then, like I said, over Anthony Davis's rebound line. Now the line is at 13.5. If you can get this at a more manageable number, I would take that. Or if you could combine it with maybe looking at like a points and rebounds, but the points is going to juice it up. Like, the thing that could keep me off of this Anthony Davis line is the fact that it is so high. But again, I think he should be able to dominate the glass in this game overall. Chris Boucher, tall, decent player. Anthony Davis is bigger and should muscle the hell out of him. But guys, that's all we have for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you made it this far into the video, 21 minutes into the video, let's get some fish emoji, the guppy emojis in the comments, letting me know that you made it this far. Make sure you drop your hashtag ride of the days as well. Follow me over on X at FGuyBoston. And yeah, let's continue to build this momentum, because we needed last night, right? Like a day where we finally, right, we saw the board well. Even one of our losses was on the hook. We lost OKC by 2 points. The only bad read last night, like bad read, was the Bucks. And the Bucks, like, I don't know if I can bet them against the spread ever again. But nonetheless, guys, I think we're heating up a little bit, because 2024 has not been our friend so far in this last week at least. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.